To KingPittdawg Racing, I am Kevin, and we are here tonight to do a little bit more testing. But before I jump into testing, I wanted to get on here and give everybody a quick reference ability for our settings as we go into testing tonight. I've got all of these cars, these prototype cars, set as a control, and we'll work on getting those updated tonight. We're going to test them. I'm going to run several cars to try to see. I think we've got the Mustang somewhat competitive. It's probably not going to pass without a help. But running the two Mustangs, I think the 350R is going to be faster than the Shelby just because it's just got more torque. So let's just jump right in here. We're going to go by alphabetical order here. Again, yesterday I didn't have the wide body on the Gran Turismo when we tested it. So let's start with the Alpha. The 8C, this car seemed pretty good with the settings that we've got. And what we've done is kind of set everybody at 80 and 160, and we're moving a few cars to try to make them more competitive. So 80, 160 on the downforce. Again, you can set your ride height as you wish. Please set your anti-roll bars to 5 or 6, and then your damping ratios all at the center slider. I'm running these cars with 0 camber. It may handle a little better with a little bit of camber, but at this point I'm just leaving it there. I'm going to test this car several times tonight. We're going to run some short practice races again, and this thing will be 84 on the restrictor when it's built properly, and then 13 on the ballast. And again, unless I state otherwise, try to keep the ballast in the center on these cars. There's a couple of them. I think the SLS, we have to run the ballast all the way forward because it's borderline on the limits of the performance points. So here's what we've got on this engine. After you buy it, you've got bore up, stroke up, engine balance, tuning, polish ports, and racing crankshaft. Start with the racing crankshaft because that's what I had on it just at first, and then I went in and put everything else on it. So that might affect it. I don't know why it would affect how it builds. It should be just a set number for all these cars. But this one comes out to 515 horse and 408.3 foot-pounds of torque. So that is your Alfa Romeo 8C Competizione, and that is a front-engine, rear-drive, naturally aspirated V8. Okay, next car up, we're just going to go, like I said, like we did last night in alphabetical order. The BMW, we're going by manufacturer, alphabetical order, BMW M3. This car is kind of unique in that I can't get a lot of torque on this thing. We can still, even after bore and stroke up, we're still only at 4,201 cc's on this thing, so it's still a small engine. So you're going to do bore up, stroke up, engine balance, tuning, polish ports, racing crankshaft, and high compression pistons on this one. You'll need your 3 weight reduction and your increased body rigidity. So downforce on this one, I'm probably going to pull a little downforce off this. I'm going to run a few more races. I want to run it myself and see how it reacts. There's a couple of different schools of thought on the transmission. Again, I'm opening up the settings on the transmission. You can run anywhere from 300 to 360 at this point. I've added the extra 10 in case somebody wants to run and try to use just 5th gear and use 6th gear for cruising. So that was a strategy one person wanted. So I said, let's move the numbers up to 360. I put it right smack dab in the middle. So I can see what it is when I drive it. So again, all of these settings in the center, please. You can do your negative camber toe angle as you want, but I would suggest none because you're going to increase drag if you put any toe angle in these cars at Daytona. The cars darn near steer themselves in these corners. You've just got to keep it online. Camber, you may want to put some camber in. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to experiment with and without camber on some of these cars as well. We got another night of testing before the qualifying heat race this Friday night. And then don't forget, tomorrow night we're going to do Tundra Craftsman truck testing. It'll be a 1 make because we're going to kind of throw the Raptor aside because we can't get it up to speed. So again, I said I wasn't going to spend a lot of time trying to get that Raptor up to speed. I think it's just limited as a race truck. So there's your BMW, 517 horse, 2,824 pounds. All right, on to the next one. That would be the Chevrolet Camaro, and this car has been kind of our steady car. We haven't really had to do much to it. Again, we put it at 8160 on the downforce. This car is at 100% power and output with no engine mods, just our racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust in our computer. And then we will be at 44 pounds, or yeah, 44 kilograms of ballast to give us 2,824 pounds. And again, everybody says it looks like you can ride this thing pretty low, so you don't have to be at 10 minimum, but some are. But again, the lower you can get these cars and still be able to handle them in the corners, the less drag there's going to be on them. So experiment a little bit with your ride height if you want. We do know we have an issue with the Lexus with ride height, and I do notice I had an issue with one of the other ones. I can't remember which one it was. But again, the Camaro right here, pretty straightforward still. This one's been pretty steady. I know Steve was testing transmission settings, and 350, I think is what he said, seemed to work out the best. You will need draft help to pass people here. You're not going to be able to pull out and pass a car in restricted draft racing. So just if people think that their car's you're gonna make your car just a monster where it can just swing out and pass. That's why we limited the Mercedes, is because it was too fast. So it got limited, and we'll go into the next one. And again, we've allowed a boost a little bit more on the Ford because of the way Polyphony has the body drag down. So we'll go into that first. I'm going to hit the GT first because it's basically the same settings. What I may do tonight, if these things can't run in the draft, we may take a little arrow off of these. I'm trying to keep as many parameters the same as possible. I've got these 5 over the bump stops on both of these, and of course all of our shock settings are in the center sliders, and 0 camber, 0. This car handles super well. I mean, it is just as stable as can be, and the reason is, and we figured it out over the course of this time, there's so much drag attributed to this body that it's slowing us down. So I may have to pull some aero drag off of these cars to get them a little bit more competitive. I don't think you can go out and pass on a slingshot with these cars, so just a fair warning. All right, the GT350R, the other Mustang option. This one, oh, you know what I didn't show there? But we're basically building these motors. I did not add bore up on this because it didn't increase torque. But we did do engine balance tuning, polish ports, and racing crankshaft. And we have got this one set at 565, which is 87 on the restrictor. And again, I'm going to have the room set for like 575 horse. So if we need to bump the Mustang up, or 571. If we need to bump this one up, we can actually bump it up another number. That's what I ran it at last night, and I want to see what it runs at this number. Okay, because I said 10%. That's slightly over 10% at 571. This is actually just slightly under 10%. But we'll mess around with these and see what happens. And again, you may want to bump the numbers up and try to use 5th gear as your top gear, and then cruise. Like if you're in the draft, you might be able to shift and then cruise, but you got to be really careful doing that because you can lose if you lose the draft, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to be able to get caught up until a caution comes out. So, all right. And just so you guys know, the qualifying heat races are going to be set for 31 laps. So, so that'll be about. They should be, if the times are right, they should be somewhere around 25 minutes each. And that'll be Friday night. And then 1 lap is going to be our pace lap. So we're going to do pace laps and cautions. The qualifying heat races, we may not do as thorough of cautions and that. But there will be pit stops on a 31 lap race. We're thinking these cars can go about 20 laps. And I'm going to probably move the setting down to 2 times tires and fuel. So, all right. So this is the Mustang GT350R, and again, it's 8160 right now. We're probably going to experiment with a little less drag on this car, so we might move this down to like 6120. I don't think it can go that low. No, we would have to go like 160. Yeah, we might be able to do like. Yeah, we could do go as low as 150. So this car has a lot of aero. So, all right. So there's the Mustang GT350. I think we're getting closer to having these things competitive. So we're going to keep it in the loop for now. All right. After Ford, we got Lexus, and that is the RCF 2014. And again, for those who haven't built one, you're going to do your bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, racing crankshaft, and high compression pistons. Again, we're trying to get that torque number up. So we're not doing any of these that don't add to the torque of the engine. So again, you're going to need your racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust manifold, and we will run this one at 81. That'll give us 517 and 46 on the ballast. And again, keep that ballast in the center on these cars. So this one, again, your gear, you may want to run it higher so you can use this one actually has 7 gears, so you may want to use this higher so you can run it in 6th gear as your top gear and then 7th as a cruising gear. Okay, so that's another option for you. So just a heads up on that. All right, next car up is going to be the Maserati we talked about, and that one is right here. It's a very nice looking race car, I will say. It's a very sexy car. Settings wise, again, this one seemed okay. I didn't have the wide body on it last night, which was an error. And again, this car is the reason we're at 2,824 pounds, because it cannot get more than the 4 stages of weight reduction we had to add to it. This is a very expensive car. Not as expensive as the 8C. The 8C is like $350, I think. Or maybe it's this one that was $350. But bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, racing crankshaft, and high compression pistons. Again, none of these things that are in the Ultimate. We're not using those. And again, we got our torque number up on this one a little bit, and then we reduced it down to 83 on the restrictor. And I tried 320. I only raced this like once, I think once or twice, and 320 seemed to be good, but I'm going to try some different numbers. We'll get it figured out before the main races. Before the main race. I guess it's main races, but we're running it as 1 points race in the final stage. Alright, so that is our Maserati. Now we can do the Mercedes SLS AMG. This car we had to restrict because it was way too fast. All I added this one was a racing crankshaft, and that's because I really wanted all the cars to have the racing crankshaft. And then we're going to set this arrow on this one basically double what we've got on the other cars. 160 in the front, 320 in the rear, 83 on the ballast. That gets you to 2824. Now you got to push that ballast up front, and the reason is the PP number, the performance point number, barely comes in under the 717 limit, and then you're going to want that restrictor on 79. So I think 330 was a good number, and again, this car is now pretty even with the Camaro. Before it was just blowing by everybody and running 43s. These cars by themselves should be running around 45 seconds. And in the draft they should be running 44 or high 43s with a bump. Just depends on how you hit the draft. But that is your SLS AMG 2010. Alright, moving right along here. We're just about out of cars. So next one up is the Toyota Crown. And again, this is one of our original Cup cars. This one we have, you notice there's nothing over here, and that's because you have to have this right here, engine swap, 3UZFE SC430. That contains basically all of that stuff, because it's a racing engine out of the SC430 GT500 car. So 516 horse was the max that we could do with this engine. I think we did add the racing muffler, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. That could have actually been with the part of the engine swap. So the car's expensive. This one's expensive, but you don't have to add anything to it. So you still got to buy the suspension, LSD, racing trans, brakes, all that kind of stuff, and your weight reductions and your body rigidity. But there's nothing else you need to buy on this thing. In fact, I don't think I think the muffler was already on it. So there is your, and by the way, 8160 again on the air on this one, on the arrow. 9 on the ballast now to get it to 2824. And then it seems to work pretty good at 330. But again, you can experiment with that with testing. Again, we're going to have testing tonight, Craftsman truck testing tomorrow night, and then final practice Thursday night. Be about this same time, and we'll see what we can do with these cars. Again, we're going to run like 4 or 5 lap test races. So, and then this car you can run I think we can run this one pretty low. I was running at 5 over and it seemed to be just fine. So, alright, that is the Crown, and then we've got the wild card here, which we haven't accepted yet. We're trying to make a case for it, and that is the 02 Viper GTS. This car has nothing on the engine mods. This car is way too torquey for the process, but two weight reductions, all the other parts, and then this one, what we're doing on this one is running at 94, because if you look over here, the torque is 516. That matches our horsepower number that we're looking for, and 478 on the horsepower, 26 kilograms on the ballast. And then we ran this one at 100, 200, because it was way too slick earlier. So we'll see how it does. If it's too dominant, we're just going to have to bypass it, because I'm not going to spend. This car wasn't, this is one that only one person's really asked to drive, and I don't have, I don't want to spend too much time trying to balance this car out when we're already trying to balance the other ones out. So again, this is a V10, so it really doesn't fit the rules, but I'm trying to make an exception because one person wants to drive this car. If we can limit it enough, it's going to be severely limited if it's driven. So we'll make that decision by Thursday night. I'm not going to make it tonight. I won't make it tomorrow night. We'll make that decision. So that's where it is right now. Again, these are my prototypes I built up to keep the control on the settings, and I will set the settings when I ask somebody to change the settings. I'll jump in the cars and do so. So, all right. That is it for our Cup Car update. Again, those are our models right across the top of my list here. All of these are our Cup cars, all the way down to the Alpha, BMW M307, and again, it's the Alpha 8C Competizione. I think that's the 350,000 one, 350,000 credit, and I think the Maserati's 167, or it might be the other way around. I don't remember, because I built them both about the same time. And I think the 8C is the one that's 350,000. So the M307, again, you got to be real careful there because it's the only one that's the V8, the M307, available in Brand Central. All these cars are available in Brand Central, except the Viper 02, I think. I don't think the Viper 02 is. I think that's got to be gotten out of the used car center. So the Camaro SS 2016, again, 516 and 2824. The Mustang GT, we're allowing 567 and 2824. Again, if somebody wants to run the Mustang and stick to it, I will allow you whatever we need to do to make this thing competitive, okay? We'll drop Aero off of it, whatever we need to do. The Lexus RCF 2014, again, 517, 2824. The Maserati Gran Turismo S08. Don't forget that one needs 4 weight reductions. 515 horse, 2824 pounds. The SLS AMG 10, 515 horse, 2824 pounds. And again, that is restricted on the Aero. The Crown Athlete G 516, and again, that's our control car because we cannot add any more power to this car. 2824 pounds, which is just like all the other ones. And then we're still testing the Viper GTS 02, and again, this car has to be at 100, 200 on the Aero. And the Mercedes is, I think it was 160, 320 on the Aero. 160 front, 320 rear. So that's it for the Cup Car update. I'm going to fire off a lobby here, and then we can get some cars in here and do some more testing. Don't forget, tomorrow night is Craftsman truck testing. We're going to get one night of that in, and then I want to go back to we'll run some mock qualifying in those too. We'll get everybody out there, we'll space it out like we're going to do for qualifying. We'll run a test qualifying session. So that's something that requires me to watch what's going on and where the cars are. So that I would be the last truck to go out and qualify. So just so you guys all know what's going on, that's that. And I'm going to end this stream, and then we'll kick back on with I'm going to actually just open the lobby right now. I can go ahead and open the lobby right now. Give it a minute here, and again, I'll just go ahead and end the stream while this thing's setting up the lobby, and I'll get the lobby up here in about a minute, and then I'll open the stream up here in a couple of minutes once I can get all the titling redone. So that's it. Again, keep this. You can go in there and screenshot those settings, but again, we may be changing things tonight in testing, so don't consider it a Bible. So we'll update everybody tomorrow again with updates on the Cup Car. The Cup Car situation. So we'll get everything set. I can always give you the settings. Also, the night that we do. Let's change the tire to 2 times tonight, and then 717 on 2824, 571 horsepower for the Mustangs. Extreme and lower engine. Remember, if you're doing you got the engine swap unrestricted for the Crown. And that should be it. Okay, here we go. Fire it up. And again, I'll end the stream here, and then we will be back on in a few minutes. So thanks everybody for watching. Again, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me right here at my PlayStation. Reach out to me on the PlayStation app at KingPittdawg right there. That's all the information you need right there. Yes, I did grind to get some money today, so I made about 4 million, I think, today, and spent another 1 million. So, all right, that's it for now, everyone. I got the lobby open, so head in here, and we'll get some testing done on these cars. So, we'll see you around in a few. Until then, KingPittdawg